Hey guys, I'll be showing you how to sculpt this top part of the armor. We'll be going through the process of sculpting like primary form, then secondary, and then tertiary forms. I'll jump into ZBrush. So this was my base model, which I made to block out all the base objects of the entire character. And here's what I have. And I took it to Maya to fix some loops, because ZBrush doesn't do much uh, with the loops. So you have to go to Maya and fix some loops by yourself. It's really good to have a good flowing topology even while you're sculpting on a base mesh. So it just helps you to sculpt way easier on the base mesh. Okay, so uh, from what we see right now, okay, it looks alright. It looks almost like a blob of clay, and uh, if you press V, you can see it in black and white, like the silhouette. So you don't see much definition in the silhouette of this model. I'll turn the background, make it a bit lighter, so you can see what's actually happening. Yeah. So right now, if you see, there's not much definition. Like, yeah, you can see the forms, but it feels like mushy and doesn't have much definition to it. So what you start doing is uh, giving it more definition, so it feels much stronger and nicer just in the silhouette. So what I'll do is bring back my whites and start sculpting on this. So normally, uh, most of the time I use these brushes. It's like move brush, clay buildup, demon standard, clay brush, standard brush, and then trim dynamic, inflate, and move topological. For this one, I'll mostly be using move topological and move brush, and maybe standard and deviant standard brush. So I use move brush and move topological because move topological is really good brush just to move like a bunch of polygons, and it really works well on the edges. It just affects like the area which you are trying to move, whereas the move brush like affects almost everything which you try to move. So it's really helpful when you're trying to move things on the edges. uh, it gives more control while you're doing that. So I use Debian standard, and I almost keep the opacity, the intensity a bit lower, because I don't like working in high intensity. It it's better if I get like subtle forms first. So I have my references with me. I always keep my reference on my other screen uh, just to see how the forms are flowing. So right now we are going for the primary form, which is this blue line, which is almost the outline of any object. So I'll go with Debian standard brush and try to sculpt in the outline. So right now, you when you press V or just make this shader black, you see how it's bending. It's going straight. There's a bend and then another bend. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to break the straight lines into bends so I can get more forms. So it's always good to keep in mind that the flow of how the geometry is moving. Uh, so I kind of don't like how the way it's like it's going in a M shape. So I'll break this down more. Also, another good trick is whatever forms you have, it's good to just like nudge it a little bit, just so it gives more organic feel. Kind of so as we see in our reference, it's more pointing up towards here, and these things are not round, but they're almost facing inside. So that's what I'll try to get in my 3D model. So right now you see how they're facing outside, so I'll just push them in more, just so it affects the silhouette. More inside, and then I'll try to bring this up just like we saw in the reference, a bit pointier. So here you see how it's just flowing straight. Maybe there's a little bit of bend here, but it still doesn't look that interesting. So to make it more interesting, you just give it more bend. Also, it's a good thing to reduce the intensity of your smooth brush sometimes while pressing shift, so it doesn't smoothen things out like completely. It still preserves your forms and smoothens the geometry. So it's much better now with like the form going up and down, and then it's breaking the straight line. It's also good to see your models from every single direction, so it's not like you just keep on sculpting from one side. Try to keep on moving your object all the time, see it from different direction. So I'll try to break this form more. It almost looks like a claw now, which I kind of like how it's going there. So view it from top. The more angles you see it from, the lesser chances you have of your model going wrong. So just move the outline, and then yeah, just a breakdown out here, right, and move this a little bit. go to your top view, take it to black, see how it's looking. Like you see there's a straight line here, so I would want to break that down more. Just really subtle changes. It's not necessary to break every single thing you see, like every single straight line you see, but it's really good to have like subtle changes in the forms. You won't notice them, but they help a lot to make your model look much better. So I'll try to add more bumps here, as you can see in the, so it's more bumpy. Uh, it's more bumpy here, and then straight. So I'll try to get that just a little bit in primary form, so it'll be easier for me to work on my secondary forms. So it's really good to do like smaller stuff with your move topological brush, because it'll select like specific amount or bunch of polygons and just move them instead of moving like entire thing. Also make sure everything doesn't look even, so just smoothen it out more. Yeah, don't try to rush into the detail. Just go step by step, because it's really easy to get into the detail part, and then uh, it gets really hard to tone it back down and make it look good. So if your base is good, I'm sure you'll get good details. Bring that down so it looks like you can see the flow here. Also, don't hesitate in looking at your models from like really weird angles, because uh, you cannot see some things from some angles, but when you change an angle, you'll see what the problem is. And it's really good if you see from different angles, because you don't want your model to look weird from one angle and look perfect from another angle. You want it to look good from every single place you view it from. Yeah, of course, the details which are inside doesn't matter that much, because they'll be covered with all the other stuff. So don't really worry about the things which are underneath, or which won't ever be seen in your model. Okay, so I've got this. Uh, bring this out, so it's like going from big to small form, like it's going from bigger form to a little bit small. It's always good to balance your forms from like bigger forms to small, because you won't always have like big forms everywhere, even in primary detail. Like these are some subtle things you should keep in mind while tweaking the primary stuff. Also, it's a good thing to keep on changing your matte caps, or the to different colors, or just random good ones, not the shiny ones where you can't see anything, but just like different ones with different color, or so you can you can see different sort of details and different colors, because your eyes just gets used to one thing, and then after a certain time you won't able to make any difference between what's wrong and what's right. So it's always good to keep on changing your matte cap colors. Right, so I made subtle changes. Let's see it in black silhouette. So now we can see how there's a breakdown in this form. Maybe I would want to bit more. Then on side you can see how it's breaking down this form, and then it swoops down. So this is the point of rest. Then it goes up, and then these part it's breaking the form down more from front. It looks interesting on side, and yeah, it's also good sometimes to just move things while it's in silhouette mode. You can also use this matte cap which you get with ZBrush, which is outline thin, and it'll just show you the outline. Or you can use any other matte cap and just go to black, and it'll just show you the silhouette of an object. Uh, yeah, so I would want to move this a little bit, just so it's more angular. And there's nothing bad in moving your geometry while it's in this mode, but just make sure that you're moving the edges and not everything inside it. So right now what we're trying to focus is more like the outsides, the boundary of the form, so we're not getting distracted by the inner details. So this is swooping a bit down, then it goes down. Maybe I would want to push this in a little bit. So it's almost looking like this. Also keep in mind that you are always having your primary form sculpting in low poly. So don't try to go high poly as soon as you start sculpting, because it's really easy to just start going to high poly, but your forms will still look bad, and then going back is really hard. So yeah, keep it low poly, and then if you want, maybe add another subdivision, just but I would say it's too much form, like too much polygons to handle, at least for primary forms. So I always keep it on low poly, and try to tweak things as much as I can. So yeah, just a little bit more form, and here you can see it looks a bit weird, so just move this out a bit. Mm, Also, another important thing is keep on most of the time just work in your orthographic, not in perspective. Perspective might distort things a little bit. Uh, it's always a good idea to work in your orthographic, because you can see what's actually happening. And orthographic, it's like more distorted view, and you cannot figure out how the forms look. I mean, sometimes things look really good in perspective, but it's always good when you're sculpting things in your orthographic. Let's check our reference. So, like you see, this line's going out and inside. We got this form, we got this form. We also got this edges. I might want to get this form on the outer edge. We're getting this curve which is going uh, like in an oval shape. Uh, when we want this form also. So it's always good to check the apexes of anything. Alright, so let's try to get that. So it kind of looks like that. And then there was this form which was going out like this out here. Yeah, so now you can actually see how much detail that just adds in the form without even changing anything, any secondary form inside. Like this itself looks like something which has mass in it. Alright, so few more tweaks on this. And then we'll start with our secondary forms. Like you saw, I just used move brush, mostly move brush, and maybe a little bit of Debian standard brush, just to push some vertex inside. And some edges outside. Um, Also, while you're using clay brush, just make sure that you go in brushes and then auto masking and keep the back face on, because sometimes uh, it destroys the geometry which is behind the surface. So just keep in mind you turn that on. I kind of made a shortcut for it, so it's always there and I don't have to go in the menus again and again. Alright, so from top view, looks good. I would want to move this a little bit more, maybe stretch this out. So it's going like round, and then it's popping out, goes in, pops out. Similar thing here. Just more curvy. Yeah, and then go into side. I think I like the side view more, just because it has variations of form into it and good balance. And then there's front view, which also looks fine. So I guess we're done with the primary forms.